Hello Mike, we've got the transmission out of your '05 F-150 apart, and we'll show you what we found inside of it. This is what it looks like when it's all apart. We'll go over some things with you, and Eric or Amanda will contact you with the different cost estimates. So we'll start with what was in the pan. If you look at the magnet, you can see the piles of metal here. Like, we got piles of metal there, and we have some enough metal that it's actually kind of piled up and made almost like a little porcupine. So you can see there's quite a bit of metal there. That of course shouldn't be there. A little bit of metal would be normal, but really only 1/10 the size of that. When we look at the low reverse band that comes on for reverse and manual one holdback, this area is the piece that contacts first, and what's happened is the paper lining is now super thin right there, almost down to metal, so it's just plain worn out. This is a direct drum. This piece right here that I can turn, that should be able to come out, and there's a snap ring under there to take this piece out. I can't get that out, so what's happened is the metal has worn a burr on this shaft. I may not be able to get it out, but we'll have to do a couple things and try to get this to come off there. The drum itself is no good from the amount of spline wear, so you see these splines are going to engage these splines. The camera will probably not pick it up, but there's looks like about 30 or 40% of spline wear. So what happens as this goes in there, now I can actually turn this back and forth, and we want that to be tight. If this were to ever strip out, we'd end up with no third and no fourth gear. There's also some spline wear on this forward hub. It almost looks, if you look with the camera, that there's a line down where my thumb is. That's not supposed to be there. These splines should go right from here all the way to there, and it's the same situation here. We have some spline wear, and what happens there is this sun gear spline is going to spline into that, so we can't have that stripping out, otherwise we'll lose all the forward gears on that. The bearings themselves, they look to be okay. I don't see any pitting there. This is our direct clutch, which comes on for third and fourth. You can see a uniform color on the friction plate, and the steels are a nice uniform color, no heat checking there. This is the reverse input clutch. Same situation, we've got a little discoloration, but not too bad, and the steel plates and the pressure plates are a uniform color, so no slippage there. This is the intermediate clutch, which comes on for second gear. This is a dark green lining, so it's hard to see, but this has just a little bit of discoloration, and the steel plates have just a little bit of discoloration as well, but a tiny bit of slippage, not too bad there. This band comes on for overdrive. You see this color here is what it should look like, that kind of red lining, and this black mark here indicates that the band has been slipping. This band releases when it's not in fourth and comes on when it's time to shift into fourth, so it's active on the highway gears but not in town. So this being burned, a lot of times the cause of that is some bore wear in here. So we have a test pin where the servo would go in here. We can actually wiggle this back and forth, so we know we have some wear on the bore that we would normally address by sleeving that with an aluminum piece. Our forward clutch that comes on for all the forward gears, you can see this friction here, what it looks like. We got a waffle design, but when we look at these ones, you see there's no more waffle left. That clutch is so thin that it's worn out, and the same thing for the rest of the clutch stack. This surface here is the only surface in that whole pack that looks fine. The rest of it is worn down. So what happens is now that clutch stack, instead of being this thick, is now only this thick, and then this piston that's down inside of here. So this aluminum piston, it comes out like this and bottoms against the snap ring, but what's happened here is the piston is over traveled, and there's little pieces of rubber in there. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's a little piece of rubber down by my thumb. That's going to be the forward clutch lip seal. So yeah, I can only see really the one piece that might show up on the camera, but there may not be enough light. But you can see right down there with my finger that's where the piece of rubber is. So we know that this piston has over traveled, and that's why the forward clutch has got the delay. When we look at that plate I was talking about, You can see these stiffener plates here. So there's one there, and there used to be one here, but what's happened is Ford has stopped putting that one on, and this is the separator plate. You can see how I can bend it. So you can see the separator plate itself is bendable, and what ends up happening is down underneath there, the oil pressure ends up pushing up on the plate. We can tell that the plate has been deflecting because there where my finger is, the camera I'm sure is not going to pick it up, but there's little spider web cracks. So that's an easy indication that there's a problem there. And what we do is we put a plate like this over top of there. We have to drill 2 holes and secure the plate down, and then there's a gasket that covers up that cracked piece. There's also some valves in the valve body that we've got to check for wear. Essentially, this doesn't really show you very much. This is the lockup solenoid here. These are 2 shift solenoids. The valves underneath this separator plate. Once we take this off, we're going to have to look at the pressure regulator valve sits in here. We have to look at the wear there, and things like the rest of the valves have to be not stuck at all as well. So when we look at the case, these are the worm tracks I was talking about, where you could potentially have oil from one gallery leak over to the other side, and that's where we get a lot of slip damage from these types of units as well. Pressure control solenoid here would get replaced with a recondition as well. There's also on this drum, on our reverse input drum, this snap ring, move that out of the way, this snap ring here, we actually, a lot of times we'll see this snap ring popped off. So there's an updated snap ring the aftermarket has where we put a little sleeve down, we put the snap ring in, it spirals around on itself so that it locks itself onto place, and then we actually take the little sleeve and we roll it over so that there's no chance of that snap ring coming off. The planetaries, they look okay, and the pump over here, it looks like it's in okay shape as well. So that stuff appears to be okay, but you know, we have issues with our forward clutch, of course. We have bore wear here on our case. We have band that's been slipping. We have some spline wear on this forward hub. So spline wear in there, we're going to have to replace that piece. This drum, on a recondition, we would definitely replace that drum as well for the spline wear. And this band is worn out. That's going to have to be replaced either way. So, as I said, Eric or Amanda will contact you with a cost estimate, but now you know what we saw inside the transmission. Thanks.